What was once a run-of-the-mill animation studio run by an anti-Semitic man with a mustache is now a mass media juggernaut that would do anything from pissing off fans for the properties they acquire to firing puppies out of a cannon into a burning building if they thought it would make them more money. All clean family fun, yes? Well, this gigantic corporation willing to strangle beloved franchises for every dime they're worth might just be evil. Imagine that.
Disney is a mastermind when it comes to creating seemingly family-friendly products. Whether it's a film or a cartoon or an amusement park, Disney has convinced the masses that it's simply good, clean fun. But at a closer examination, something more sinister is underneath that innocent persona.
Look, guy, we all know that Disney is a giant corporation that just exists to make money, so of course they've done some pretty shady shit in their past. So what? It's not like some shadiness here and there actually affects whether or not the movies they make are worth watching.
A dark force, not to be trifled with. You know, Disney has never been shy to showcase occult themes, but it seems that most of the content aimed at the young is becoming blatantly evil.
You do know that all the characters you just showed were villains, right? And that dog-hating French lady isn't even magic. She's just menacing. Menacing.
Take, for instance, the movie called Descendants.
Oh, god damn it.
The logo alone should deter any awake Christian from wasting even a precious moment upon watching this.
It would also deter any person with good taste in movies from watching it. Now, I love bad movies. I own a 3-disc DVD set containing the films Five-Headed Shark Attack, Planet of the Sharks, and Empire of the Sharks. I have watched all 3 of those movies and enjoyed them. And I would not even dare watch this.
The plot should even sound the alarm that much more.
So he plays the trailer for the movie here, and I'm just going to skip it because I do not want to get copyright claimed. I'll just summarize the plot. The children of all the classic Disney villains are allowed to finally go to school with the children of the good guys. And then High School Musical happens, basically. The villains ask their kids to steal something plot relevant, and they have to decide whether or not to be good or whether or not to be evil. I know, it's a really fascinating moral dilemma. However, you can tell this from the trailer, because they're all doing Disney Channel original edgy shit. Things, you know, designed to appeal to the kids who say gosh darn instead of golly gee. Also, they have names that are kind of based on their parents' titles, like the daughter of the evil queen is named Eevee. Insert Pokemon joke here.
This glamorizes being evil and makes it fashionable.
No, the movie doesn't glamorize evil. The whole movie is about them learning to not be evil and learning that they like being good. It's like you didn't even watch it. Well, to be fair, I didn't either. I just checked the plot synopsis and watched Nostalgia Critic's review of it. But I'm willing to bet that that's more than this guy did.
In 2014, Disney made this story called Maleficent, a very satanic film that mesmerized many young people in its spell.
I don't think a 50% Rotten Tomatoes score counts as mesmerizing many young people.
The dictionary defines Maleficent as doing evil or harm, or harmfully malicious. Maleficent means destroyers of reputation.
Well, to be fair, this is an already established character that was originally designed just to be a one-dimensional villain. It's not like you can just change their name when you want to give them more depth.
You know, the Bible also speaks of a malicious being that seeks to do us harm. In 1 Peter 5 verse 8, it tells us to be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
What does this have to do with the movie? And for quoting miscellaneous Bible verses, Matthew 21:17.
If you consider the comments left on Maleficent's movie trailer's YouTube page, it reveals the effect that it has on its viewers. One commenter, ironically named Christian Alexia, writes this: I usually like the good people in movies, but how can I not like this wonderful villain, which the role is played by Angelina Jolie?
Gasp! A person said she might like the antagonist in a film? Sacrilege! But seriously, so what? You don't have to agree with a villain to like them. I liked the character of Yoshikage Kira in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and he was a serial killer who steals the hands of his victims because he has a hand fetish. Does that mean I think what he's doing is good? No! But he's such a charismatic character that you enjoy every moment he's on screen. Also, he wears a fucking awesome tie. And his theme music is cool. And he has an awesome stand. I need to watch that show some more.
The Bible is very clear about sorcery and witchcraft, and warns us to have nothing to do with it.
Question. Do you think witchcraft is real? Because it ain't. So how is watching a series of images in sequence accompanied by sound associating with witchcraft? Ooh!
The Bible says in Deuteronomy 18, verse 10 through 12, "There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord." On this verse alone, Christians have no business watching any of these films that contain the very elements that are an abomination to God.
And does watching a fictional power set in a movie grant you that power set? No? Then watching Disney isn't evil. If yes, then well, excuse me, I'm going to go rewatch all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure so I can gain myself the power of a stand.
But perhaps you're thinking, I would never let my children watch such a film. I only let my children watch the Disney classics. So let's back up and let's review some of those Disney classics. The story of Snow White includes witches, magic mirrors, sorcery, and spells.
All used by the antagonist. At no point in the movie does Snow White or any of her vertically challenged little friends cast a spell. One would think this would be a good teaching tool to show Christian kids that magic is bad.
Cinderella, even in the opening scene, they tell you that it's an enchanting story about magic.
No, those are just terms used colloquially in the opening. Colloquially. That's a hard word to say. I hate that word.
The Bible is clear. No enchanter, no magic. In The Little Mermaid, there's witches, there's spells.
Again, all used by the antagonist. I think. I've never actually seen the movie before.
In the story of Pocahontas, she consults a familiar tree spirit to guide her.
Hey, how did they let that in the movie? I thought it was supposed to be based on real events. That can't be historically accurate at all. I know the whole movie is historically inaccurate, that's the joke.
Jasmine is supposed to marry the prince, but instead she falls in love with the thief. This also contains magic and sorcery. Mulan's best friend is a little red dragon who lies to her and speaks to the dead, which is necromancy. The Prince and the Frog is all about voodoo.
And one of the characters in the Bible, a prophet of God, casts a summoning spell to summon bears to murder kids. Then you've got Moses casting all kinds of spells on Egypt before mastering waterbending. Jesus casts several healing spells in the New Testament, then he uses a duplication charm, and I think he even brought someone's family member back from the dead, aka necromancy. Then, to make matters worse, God himself uses several summoning spells in the beginning of Genesis, and then uses necromancy on Jesus. Basically, the Bible is satanic and no good Christian should read the Bible. Also, it was the antagonist in the stupid frog movie using all the voodoo. Also, according to the Disney wiki that you're about to cite, the dragon from Mulan uses dragon magic and not necromancy. Thought I might point that out.
Of course, Mickey is the sorcerer himself. Now, according to the Disney wiki, magic is used throughout all of the Disney universe. This article goes on to say, the morality of magic is how it's used. Some use it for good, others for evil.
That sounds about right. Based on your logic, Jesus casting all those healing spells should have been evil, because he used magic. And Jesus can't be evil, so perhaps magic is just, if it exists, a tool that can be used to accomplish bad and good goals?
And here are the types of magic that are used in Disney films. Witchcraft, sorcery, voodoo, dragon magic, fairy magic, Disney magic.
Also, it's worth mentioning that since this guy's original video was made, the wiki has been updated to include appearing and summoning magic, those are basically the same thing, then alchemy, and then there's quantum magic, which is the type of magic used by the Asgardians and Doctor Strange in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because no magic is in the real world, and quantum is a sciencey word, and as Deepak Chopra has taught us, quantum means anything can happen for literally no reason. And sun magic. That was a thing only seen in one episode of that Aladdin cartoon. That was a thing that existed. Found it kind of odd that the Force from Star Wars isn't mentioned on here since Disney owns it now. Anyways, also I found something mildly interesting that I thought you guys would like to know. Also from Frozen, the reason she was so shit at controlling her cryokinetic abilities is because she didn't have a wand. Yeah, think about that. That whole movie could have been avoided if her parents just gave her a stick. Think about that for a bit.
And these are the known magic users. The Disney universe beholds a number of magic users. Mages, sorcerers, witches, wizards, coming in all shapes and sizes. There are some who use magic for good and benevolent purposes, and others for wicked and selfish or fiendish goals. And some that are indifferent to good and evil, and thus use magic for their own reasons regardless of good or evil. Here is a list in which Disney characters use good or evil magic. Now I'm sure that some of you may recognize a few of these names in this list. But once again, the Bible is very clear. We are to have nothing to do with these things, period.
So, are you saying it's just the magic stuff that's bad? Could one still say, watch, I don't know, the Mighty Ducks or one of those innumerable shitty Disney Channel original sitcoms? Or are they bad because they've been tainted by their association with the dark arts? Dramatic Dr. Orpheus music plays. I'm having too much fun with this.
In fact, the Bible describes these practices as an abomination to the Lord.
Oh, I see. It's only as bad as eating shrimp or wearing mixed fabrics. Fair tip for writing a holy book: don't make all the bad things an abomination. Call magic an abomination, and then call shrimp something that mildly irritates God.
Meaning that God hates these things. And if God hates them, do you think that we should have any involvement in watching them?
Why not? That's just God's opinion. My parents hate South Park, but it's not like they'd punish me or they're bothered by the fact that I watch it. In fact, they bought me a few DVDs for Christmas, even though they hate it. Anyways, if God is supposed to be like our Father in heaven, he shouldn't discourage his earthly children from doing something just because he has a negative opinion on it. That's bad parenting, God. Bad God. You do bad job.
You see, the classic cartoons open up the doorway for the darker movies down the road. It makes your heart grow fondly towards anything that Disney puts out.
One quality that above all else stuck out to me like a sore thumb and to an extent ruined my initial viewing experience, is a flaw that nearly nobody talking about, in my opinion, which is one of, if not the greatest reason why many did not enjoy this film. And that flaw is this film's amateurish abundance of bathos and what is...
Magic is sorcery. The Bible is full of examples of why we should have nothing to do with it. For instance, in 2 Chronicles chapter 33, verse 6, King Manasseh is condemned for his many evil practices, including sorcery. And he burned his sons as an offering in the valley of the son of Hinnom, and used fortune-telling and omens and sorcery, and dealt with mediums and necromancers. He did much evil in the sight of the Lord, provoking him to anger.
So, burning his sons isn't really the issue here, it's him going to a psychic every once in a while. Now I agree, going to a psychic is something you shouldn't do, it's a waste of money. But is that worse than a child burning? No. Also, so what? The guy used magic and was evil. Like I said, Jesus cast so many fucking healing spells. Does that make him evil? So, he quotes the Bible a few more times and repeats a few of the same points. I'm gonna just skip through this, to be honest, to get to something more interesting. Skip!
So let's fast forward to today, and let's talk about Frozen. Most likely, many of you have seen this movie, and if you haven't, I'm sure you've heard the songs because your nieces and nephews have sung every word 1,000 times. Remember, the devil is the most subtly created being there ever was. Deception often lies amongst the most seemingly innocent things. Error usually piggybacks off of truth. And despite the obvious reasons not to watch the movie, such as magic and sorcery, the film was praised for its noble qualities. Your actions affect others, the need for self-control, the power of sacrifice, and don't judge a book by its cover.
A message that you could stand to learn from, honestly. I'm willing to bet money, like all the Patreon money I get for this month. All $6! Give money to my Patreon. I'm willing to bet all of that you have not seen any of these movies, and decide what's wrong with them based on the box art and on the trailers.
But in all this truth, there lies a dangerous error. When Elsa decides to build her own ice castle, she sings that song, Let It Go.
Oh, good job. Now this song is gonna be stuck in my head for a week. Good going, guy.
And the lyrics say, no right, no wrong, no rules for me, I'm free. This is a most dangerous philosophy to plant into children's minds. You see, the Ten Commandments are our only guide for right and wrong. Where there is no rules, there is only chaos.
So you said one of this movie's main messages was, your actions affect others. But then you go on to say, because of one random line in a song about letting loose after accepting your true nature that's been repressed for so long, that the true message of the movie is that there is no right and wrong. Okay, if that was the case, don't you think that the writers would have just let Han's non-mole man kill Elsa, since the message of the movie is there's no right or wrong? I mean, yeah, he should have definitely killed Elsa. She's a danger to herself and others. Unless you can find her a stick to hold, I don't see any other option.
In fact, it's not only Disney that promotes this confusion of right and wrong. The Despicable Me series is—
Nope! I only signed up for Disney. Also, Despicable Me is about a bad guy becoming the good guy. It's a redemption story. So I don't really have anything else to say on the whole franchise. Skip! King Crimson! No, I'm not leaving that in. I'm not.
glorifying evil and making it look appealing is exactly how the devil tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden. And now we have cartoons such as Dracula as the protagonist, the main character.
So, just because most depictions of vampires have been your Dracula classics or your Dio Brandos, what's wrong with having a story with a non-evil vampire? Are you being racist towards vampires, guy? I don't know this guy's name, I just realized that.
You see, there's lots of animations that are coming out that even use biblical language, such as the Book of Life. They're filled with images of death and hell.
Dude, did you even watch the Book of Life? Well, unfortunately, I did because my Spanish teacher had a hangover one time. Anyways, it's about the Mexican Day of the Dead, and the Day of the Dead is a big part of the Mexican/Christian culture. It's just a different variation of Christian mythology.
The greatest story ever told is that of our Savior's birth.
The greatest story ever told? Well, here's some news for you, buddy, but you cannot rank them because they all have different subjective appeals. Also, Steel Ball Run is the best story ever told.
You see, when you watch this, it sends mixed messages to any Christian who watches these things. Confusion seems to be the common thread between many of these stories. Most of these examples that have just been shown to you have made the devil the attractive savior.
Hotel Transylvania and the Book of Life, there's a devil-like character. Not even the devil, a devil-like character in only one of those. And he's the bad guy in it.
If you or your children spend countless hours watching these types of animations and cartoons, the chances are that your desire for Christ's righteousness will be tainted. The Bible tells us in 2 Timothy chapter 3, "But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come. For men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, and having a form of godliness, but denying its power. And from such people turn away. By beholding, we become changed. When we watch these things, we take on their characteristics."
So you're saying I can get a stand from watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay, I've referenced that too many times in this video. But okay, all jokes aside, you don't gain the properties of whatever you see. Sure, some of their ideals or ideas might rub off on you, but you won't become a witch or anything like that. It's all fictional. Magic is fictional, not a real thing. And even if magic was real, magic in movies isn't actually magic. So God wouldn't get pissed at you for watching the original Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, for example, which I really want to do again, if God was real. So go enjoy Disney. Pirates of the Caribbean is really good. Watch it. but not anything after the third movie. That's all bad. Go enjoy Disney. There are plenty of Christians who enjoy Disney because they know that magic isn't real. Sorry, this was kind of a very unserious video. I'm just kind of... I don't know. This is all just kind of... I was just kind of joking around a lot in this video. I didn't take this too seriously because this guy is impossible to take seriously, and I just wanted to have a little fun with my new avatar. Just show it off in a video. I don't know. I'll try to get back to a real thing that's actually semi-serious in my next video or something. I don't know. Goodbye all, and here's an end card or whatever.